Welcome to the week of personal branding and marketing. See, you will agree that personal branding and marketing is a very, very important part in your journey to success. And you had better build that consciously from the start than to struggle later, than to pay a lot of money to somebody to say, can you establish my brand for me? Can you do my marketing for me? You know, I say this to all my author friends that your marketing for the book begins from the time you decide to write a book. That's when you start building your brand value. That's when you start putting the word out for your book. Because once it's written and once it's published, it's too late now to build an audience, to build the curiosity. So it's very important that right in the start of your journey to success, you consciously invest your time, effort, and money in building your personal brand. And it's really easy, and it also brings a lot of clarity in your daily effort, in your daily work. Because you see, you're not doing a business, you are the business. Who you stand for should be testimony for whatever it is that you do. So what is the first step of building a personal brand and marketing yourself? Is A, to define who are you? How do you want people to know you? You know, perception is everything. Either people are going to make a perception about you or you give them what to think about you. It is really in your hands, and ultimately how people see you is exactly how you show yourself to be. And therefore, your brand value, your personality, your message is in your hands. So end of the day, it is your responsibility that your personality and the message that you're giving align and match up. Okay, so let's divide this into two parts, because today our interaction is at two levels, in person and virtually. By virtually, I mean social media and every other medium that you find yourself on, where people get to connect with you and know you. So let's look at the first one, in person. How do you want people to know you? Number one is your personality. What is your style? What is your attitude? Both of these are defined by you. To give you an example, people tell me that I have a very funky style. Okay, it's very contemporary, it's unusual. So there was one time I was going for a photo shoot, and I told the guy, look, I want a very corporate look. Okay, this was several years ago. All right, so I was wearing a fancy trouser, a fancy jacket, and a very colorful shirt, and my hair was done very well, lots of makeup and so on. So when he did the photo shoot and I looked at it, I said, ye kya hai? This is not a corporate look, you know, I want a corporate look. So he looked at me from head to toe and he said, from which angle are you dressed in a corporate vibe? You're dressed like a model. And I said, no, I'm not dressed like a model. This is corporate wear. And he said, really, from which angle? You're wearing red pants, a black jacket, a white shirt, and fancy boots. Who in the corporate wears that? Okay, that was news for me, that I do not fit, not just in the corporate world as one of them, but my style also doesn't fit. Define your style and be happy with it. See, when I found out, okay, I don't fit into the corporate dressing style, I'm okay with it. This is me. I love it. And I'm known for that. Number two, define your attitude. See, how you behave with others, how you react to life is in your control, really. And therefore, what people think about you is also in your control. You can be the most positive person on the planet, and you can also choose to be negative. It's in your hands, isn't it? So something happens, and are you the kind of person who responds negatively, who responds aggressively, who responds with a lot of criticism? Or are you the kind of person who responds with calmness, with peace, with positivity, and who offers solutions in the face of problems? Your attitude is really in your decision on how you choose to react and respond to life. And you can shape that. Look, that's what we have done over the week so far, to shape your attitude, to choose your attitude, to choose your personality. And if you go back to one of the live coaching sessions, I had mentioned that wake up in the morning and remind yourself who you are. And that reminder itself will begin to direct your days. So who are you? What is your personality? And your style should be of your choosing. What do you want people to think of you? And what do you want them to know you as? Define that. Second is profession. When you meet people, look, you want to build relationships, you want to build connections, and therefore you must be very, very good with your opening, your middle, and your ending. Now, I have mentioned this in some other workshops in the earlier stages, and this is a reminder. See, what you learn in the start, you should be able to use it later, right? There is an application, and this is an application of what you have learned earlier in communication skills. So what should your opening be about? Your opening is about introducing yourself and being curious about the other person. So how are you going to introduce yourself? Is it just going to be, hi, this is Priya Kumar? Or are you going to say, hi, this is Priya Kumar, I'm a motivational speaker author? Or is it going to be a little more elaborate, saying, oh, I also must add, I've written 15 books that have won 42 awards. Oh, I must also add that I've been in the corporate world for 26 years. You decide, how do you want to introduce yourself? And let me tell you, name is not enough. And as you do that, also be curious about the other person. Don't just yap about yourself and then jump into the conversation. Also allow the other person to introduce himself in the way that you have. Be curious. And if you've taken 2 minutes in your introduction, give 2 minutes to the other person. They could be shy and say, oh, my name is Priya Kumar. Oh, really? What do you do? I'm a motivational speaker. Wow. Motivational speaker. How long have you been doing that? You get it? Push them also to speak about themselves, and that is a great opening. Also defines your personality. You see, I meet so many people, and while they may look very successful and they have everything that I have hoped and dreamed and desired for, they're not very good personalities. I've had so many conversations which I could not end and get out of, and I tell you, the person only spoke about themselves. Oh, this is who I am, this is what I've done, and did you know Pooja? Oh my God, they forget my name also in the middle of the conversation. They don't even know who I am. They don't know my name. They don't know what I do. What kind of conversation is this? And while you may find that very irritating, it may be a good reality check to find out, am I that irritating person? Okay, have a great opening. Introduce yourself and also allow and encourage the other person to introduce himself, because that is the start of a great relationship. If you don't know who the person is, how can you ever be useful? How can you extract value from the other person? Now comes the middle. By middle, I mean somewhere in the conversation, you must be very clear what is your message here. And that should be your driving purpose. Look up your purpose, which you have studied earlier, and say, okay, when I meet people, what is the one message that I'm going to give them, no matter what the context, no matter what the topic? Okay, to give you an example, I always find a way to plug in my book into context. No matter what conversation we've had, sometimes I'll say, you know what, you and I are like-minded, and there is a book I want to recommend to you. It's my book. I will send it to you. You know what, when I offer my book to someone and they say, oh, I'd be very happy to receive it, I also get their contact. I also get their address. I also get their email ID. And that is a great asset, a great resource to have to start communication back again. Now, not everybody's an author, but what is it that you're going to plug in? What is it that you could offer? Hey, you don't have to be an author. You have my books to give away. I'd be very happy to do that. Or you have a collection. You know what? This reminded me of this amazing book. I'm going to send it to you. Please allow me to send it to you. And then send it. That 300 rupees is a brilliant investment in a relationship, more than the value you would get of treating somebody a coffee. The ending of the conversation or the ending of the meeting is very, very important. How would you like to leave it? It's not just, okay, bye, nice meeting you. Okay, nice meeting you. Explain. How is it nice meeting you? I've already said this in the communication skills workshop, and here is the application. Okay, because you know what? The way you leave, the person is is going to remember you. And that is your investment in building a brand. What is he going to say? I met whom? That lady was so amazing. She knew me. It felt like I knew her for such a long time. She understood me. If you're meeting somebody and prior who, look up their LinkedIn, look up their Facebook. What's new in their life? What are their achievements? What do you like about them? What are the common points? My God, it brings so much depth into that 1 hour, half an hour, 15 minutes of interaction that it begins to open up many doors. And when you leave, summarize. If it's a professional meeting, put it down to 3 or 4 points. Okay, even if it's a personal meeting, break it down to some valuable takeaways. It was such a pleasure meeting you. My God, I loved your style. I'm so inspired. And that thing that you said about helping the social workers, I'm going to go back and think about it. You've given me food for thought, and that doesn't happen very often. And I'm so happy that we're like-minded. I don't know if this business is going to work out, but I would like to stay in touch. You're a very good human being. End it like that. And you know what? When you're prepared a little bit for the meeting, for the opening, for the middle, and for the end, your interest shows up. You pay more attention in the meeting because you're looking for more inputs. You're looking for more closing points. And that is being fully present. You're attentive. And people like that are unforgettable. Think of all the people that you remember. You've had conversations with hundreds of people. Who sticks up in your mind? People who paid attention, people who gave you attention. And those are personalities that are self-made. Those are personalities that intently have built themselves through the choices of their style, their attitude, and their communication skills. Then comes your personality online. That is so important. Today, even before we meet people, we go and check them out online and already form our opinions. You already know who this person is, what he looks like, what his interests are. So technically, you're not starting on 0. You're starting on 10 with full judgment and opinion. So invest some time in your social media profile. Now, you already need to define who are you. Pull out your earlier sheets, pull out where you have made your identity, where you have made your strengths, where you have defined your purpose, where you have defined your character, where you have put forward your goals. And now look at that profile of yours. Does it match up? That if I go to your LinkedIn, okay, LinkedIn is far more specific. If I go to your Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, in your introduction, can I tell who you are? Does it add up to who you are and what you do, or does it tell another story? It may be a good time to review and introspect and say, hey, how does this post match up to who I am and what you do? See, it's okay to put a random picture, but does the message lead to who you are and what you do? That is what we're going to handle in personal branding and marketing. When a participant joins into the program and I get a list just for fun, I like to go on their social media and see what do they do. And half of the times I can't even tell what they do. I don't know who they are. Their posts are random, sometimes without even a caption. Look, whatever you post, okay, the picture could be personal, it could just be a selfie, but the message must add up to who you are. The message must add up to your purpose. That when I read one post of mine, it's very, very clear to me that you're a motivational speaker with a purpose, that you're a writer of inspirational books. Your content, your posting leads me to that. And if you're going to build a personal brand, you are responsible for what people think about you. And that is in every single communication that you put up. Now, here is what I want you to do as an activity. Make a list of all the people you admire for different reasons. So there could be you admire a celebrity for their style. You could admire a blogger for the travel posts that they put out. You could admire a motivational speaker for the videos. You could admire a specific account for the daily motivational quotes they put up. Make a whole list, okay? It's not necessary that, oh, I can't really say that I admire Sonam Kapoor. No, I admire her for her style. That's what I like. I admire him for his videos. I admire him for his one-liner copy lines. See, a mentor is not necessarily a person where you like everything about the person. One thing is good enough, and therefore have a variety and keep it in front of you as a benchmark and as a yardstick. And now do a little write up about what is it that you like about each person. Even if your goal is to be the best gardener in the world, hey, it would be awesome to include some style in it. Let's say you want to be a motivational speaker. It may be awesome for you to add a little humor which you followed in that stand-up comedian. Let's say you're a painter. It might just help you to take out some best practices from the motivational quotes or the copywriting. I'm going to paint the town red today. Care to join? And there is your canvas with red paint on it. See, it's very clear. The people you admire, somewhere inside, there is a little desire to be like them. Somewhere inside, that's a reminder to explore a part of you that you have ignored and that wants to come out. And look, mentors and people that you hold as icons don't have to be perfect. There could be just one thing that you like about them, and there could be 99 things about them that you say, I never want to be like that. It's okay. Your job is to take best practices from others, tweak it to your context, mix it in your style, and see how you want to use it. We're not here to copy anybody. We are here to be inspired by others, to use the opportunity in that connection to find within me, hey, why am I so attracted to this? Why do I find this so good? Is it inside me that I haven't cared to explore? And in that, you bring it out to express beautifully, no matter what profession or no matter what it is that you do. You could be the gardener who is a fashion icon while at it, that you make gardening glamorous. You could be a painter with a funny edge that the humor is evident, not just in your words, but also in your work. You know what? We're multifaceted, and the internet is a great opportunity to be inspired and to imbibe the qualities that make you richer as a personality and unique as a brand. Now, I want you to write your bio, okay? Your profile. How are you going to introduce yourself? On LinkedIn, some are very extensive, some are very small, some are only 180 characters. But the main thing that must come there is, how shall people connect with you? Okay, if you're looking at building a personal brand, you want people to connect with you. Should they like the post? Should they visit your website? Should they WhatsApp you? Should they email you? Should they call you? You decide the means and the medium. Maybe you're selling something and you want to lead them to the product, right? So what I would seriously encourage you to do is to read up bios of people and profiles of people, how cleverly or how nicely they have introduced themselves in 180 characters or in 500 words. Study it, and now you take out some best practices, how you're going to do it for your profile. And your task for this week is going to be to write your introduction in all formats. It may be a smart idea to go back to some of the coaching sessions that you have done with me and to some of the earlier training programs where you have written about your personality, you have written about your strengths, you have written about your goals, you have written about the work that you do, how you want to be known as, your values, and so on. And now gather all of that, at least read it once, refresh it all in that magnitude, and then write out your profile in various segments, 180 characters, 200 words, and so on. And then I want you to write a magical introduction of yourself. Now imagine this. Let's say I'm calling you on board for a mentoring session, or I'm going to call you on stage. Okay, if you're the kind who has stage fright, let me not do that. Let's say I'm going to introduce you in a very, very elite gathering. What shall I say about you? Give me a whole sheet of paper and I will introduce you. Write an introduction for yourself, which includes who you are, what you do, your credentials, your achievements, your values, your work, your aspirations, your purpose, anything that you feel you are proud of and you want to talk about and you want other people to know, add it. Imagine you're going to get the Padma Shri or the Padma Bhushan or the Nobel Prize. And now your introduction is going to go out to the world, starting from your smallest achievement to your biggest achievement. There's going to be a full page article about you in the newspaper on the front page. How would you like to be introduced? I want you to write that introduction sheet. And that should serve as a reminder for everything that you do do. And going forward, when you're meeting somebody, come back and read the sheet. Before you go, read the sheet. Is that the message you gave? Does the person know that about you? Not in a very arrogant way, not in a very pompous way, but in a value added way, which we are going to cover in the next segment. But the starting point is you define who you are. You define your personality. You define what I must know about you. I decide what I will tell you about myself. I am a dog lover. You know that because I want you to know that. There are things I don't like. There are things I'm private about. There are things that are my weaknesses and nobody knows. You don't know either. And do you think it's simply like that? It's intentional. I do not bring it up. I do not make it public in my behavior, in my attitude, in my choices, in my decisions, and you will never know. And like I said, what other people think about you is in your hands, which means there is power. I can decide what my personal branding is. And when you know it, I know my effort succeeded. So let's get cracking. I've given you a lot to do. That's a lot of homework, but then you want to build a personal brand and it is going to take some attention. It is going to take some work and it is going to take some building. So get cracking, take out your playbook and let's get started.